YouTube! Today we have the brand new mini box Idea of Armageddon. I don't think anyone saw this one coming. We had the EX Structure DD Apocalypse kind of semi-announced in the livestream. We thought, this is what we're going to be getting, the Doom King Armageddon. But apparently not. We now literally know nothing from the structure deck. I think it's going to be more like the Blue Eyes one. It focused on reprinting stuff more so than giving us new cards. And then we'll get a DDD Exceeds monster, like a pretty good one, to go with it. I feel like that might be the way they're going about it. But let's dive into a box that I think is a bit of a bait. Honestly, I think this is one of the most bait boxes we've had in a long time. It kind of goes along the lines of the last main box, right? Being full of random anime archetype stuff. This is kind of the sequel to that. So Doom King Armageddon, of course, is your big shieldy T-posing blue eyes white dragon boy that is Declan's ace. It's okay, you're summoning it via the skill. Beyond that, it can get really big, it can't attack directly. It's unaffected by spell or trap effects that don't target this card by destruction. You're not going to go for 3 of these. I think in the core, the main, top tier DDD deck, you're not getting 3 of this. Then we have Beast Eyes Pendulum Dragon, which I really like, right, as a card. But in Duel Links, I don't think it's going to do much, right? It requires one dragon type that's dark, so pretty much odd eyes, and any beast type that must be fusion or special summoned by tripping the above cards you control, which don't use polymerization, but you can do, of course, if you want to use them from the hand. That's fine. And if it's short monster by battle, you then deal half damage, equal to the attack of the beast monster you used as material. You would have to use a very, very big, beefy boy to get any meaningful damage in this. Odd Eyes by itself, with an equip card, would just be way more valuable than Beast Eyes. If you have a lower deck, like a deck that uses lower level monsters, right, to summon this, then it's not terrible. And finally, for Ultra Rares, we have Crystal Keeper, which I think is the biggest bait ever. So, scale effect, scale 2, it makes Crystal Beast, undestructible by card effects once per turn, which is fine, right? They already like going in the back row, and sometimes you don't want to go into the back row, but its main effect is it's basically a hand trap that can double Crystal Beast's stat points, but then destroys it in the end of the battle phase, which then puts it back into the back row. The main thing here is Crystal Beast already in Duel Links don't have any back row free. They already use all their back row with their skill transcending crystals to then facilitate drawing into cards and popping things, that having this as a scale doesn't really make sense. If you want to use the pendulum, like you want to use it as a pendulum deck, right? Then you would need to go around and use a skill that gives you extra zones. But you can only do those skills if you have 12 pendulum cards. So you do stock up on keepers, on masters, on eccentrics, on one other card, and then have more than half your deck be this penned engine. Just summon out some Crystal Beast level 4s and make an Xyz deck. I don't see where this will be that great. Sure, if you want to include it in the main deck, right, and have it as a hand trap, fine, right? Have it be the Score Them Lotus Diva. But Score has way more use than this does. One is a free card, a free card of the gate. The other is in a mini box that just feels like, give us your money, you'll do it, even though Crystal Beasts are going to be absolutely dog shit. That's just kind of what it feels like. But moving on to super rares where things get a bit more interesting, we have Contrast Hero Chaos, which is not a masked hero, but it does require 2 masked heroes to summon, so you can't use Mask Change. You're going to be using things like Miracle Fusion or Grand Merge to kind of shit this guy out randomly. And it gives you a quick effect once per turn negate for any card in the game, which is really cool. But it's such a early game effect that you aren't getting out early game. There is no way you're summoning 2 masked heroes and then go into this early game, right? You would summon an Anki, attack in, get the mask change, go to another Anki, do that rinse and repeat, right? You do that, then turn 4 or 5 around that point, you would then be able to say, you know what, Miracle Fusion in the graveyard, summon this guy out, have a negate. That's kind of when you'd summon this. In Duel Links, if we had a main phase 2, then maybe. It's a lot to ask for an effect that should be staple in heroes by now, but it's a cool card, but just one that I think just won't really make a splash, at least in the masked hero variant that you're expected to play. But then we have Rune Eyes Pendulum Dragon, requires Odd Eyes Pendulum Dragon, plus 1 spellcast that monster, Dark Magician Odd Eyes, anyone coming clutch back from Legacy Duelist? That'd be kind of fun.
Secrets of Eternity was released in January 2015. This set introduced the Infernoids.
If this card was fusion summoned by using a Pendulum summoned monster, so not just a Pendulum monster, but you can pen summon a Dark Magician, right? This card becomes unaffected by card effects until the end of the turn, which is great, right? You want this as a cheesy OTK boy, and it gains effects based on level of the spellcaster you used, so you either use level 4 or lower, it can attack twice on monsters. If you do 5 or higher, it can attack 3 times. So it becomes a Purgatrio that doesn't feel as busted, right? Because it's not as easy to summon, but I like it. I think this, Beast Eyes is more generic, right? But this has the way better effect, and it's the way more fun card. So, your fans, Odd Eyes fans, Perform Power fans, you're eating kind of well. Speaking of eating kind of well, DDD Savant Kepler. This is the main search card for the deck, right? Searches out your, this card searches out your searcher, searches out the Dark Contract card. It's really, really good with the skill, right? You summon this, search out your Dark Contract card, use the skill to bounce this back into a scale, summon out that scale for the deck. Very, very cool. We assumed this would be in the structure deck, but, I guess not. I guess we're getting other things, which is cool. And it is good, right? It's good they're giving us this via the box. I know people are going to kind of think, oh no, I can't pay 18 bucks and get 3 copies, but now free-to-play players can get this. And I think that's what Konami want, right? They want the free-to-play players to kind of get in the window, like Blue Eyes, right? Get them in the door with the EX deck, focus on the reprints, and then go, oh, actually, by the way, you can grab all new stuff for relatively cheap and maybe spend a couple of bucks here and there. And then they're kind of locked in, right, on the archetype for when new support comes. So this makes a ton of sense. Then we have a brand new one, DD Savant Newton, which I don't think is all that good. If you discard this card, target DD or Dark Contract in your graveyard, add it to hand, which, recursion is fine. It's a scale 10 that doesn't get reduced, unlike, Savant Kepler. But its pendulum effect makes it so that, you can negate a trap card that inflicts damage to you, which I guess you can negate your own trap, right? I assume there's a Dark Contract trap card that does this, that you can negate that. But for the scale effect, I don't see it seeing play. For the scale number, I could see it seeing play. Then we have a DD Orthros, which is a tuner, which we did need, right? We did need some Pendulum summonable tuners, and now we have them. Its scale effect is a once per turn, a spell trap card on the field, and one on DD monster or Dark Contract card, blow them up, which is great. It's kind of like Archon-eccentric, right? But not a one card Archon-eccentric. So you can use your Dark Contract card to search, then scale this, then pop the Dark Contract, then pop a card on the field. If you know you're having OTK on board, right, and you want that back row protection from your DDDs, then you'd kind of use this. And this can be special summoned by itself when you take battle effect damage, but that's during your opponent's turn, right? So it's kind of like a Balan Box of Ale, but without the life point gain, which is great. This card, I believe, is integral for DDD Siegfried, a synchro that we don't have. It's not used so much as for Alexander, but for Siegfried, I think it's a pretty good card. Then we have Perform Power Trump Witch. She is going to be making your Beast Eyes and your Rune Eyes so much easier because in the pen scale, you can fusion summon one fusion monster in your extra deck using monster you control. So you'd scale this, scale level 8, you'd pen summon your Odd Eyes Pendulum Dragon, your other spellcaster, activate their effect, then go up into your Rune Eyes Pendulum Dragon. Absolutely love it. Or you can almost summon this card, tribute it to Search a Poly, which is fine as well. Then we have Second Donkey, so Friend Donkey getting his friend out on the field. When he's someone special summoned, you can send a Perform Power from your deck to the graveyard, accept itself, and if you have 2 cards in your pen zones, you can add it to hand instead. Which is fair enough, right? It's a searcher or a trade-in. Stat-wise, not the best, but the whole thing of this is you're using this with your Beast Eyes Pendulum Dragon. That's all you're doing. This guy is a Beast Eyes Pendulum Dragon target, which is fine. But just some cards exist just to be the thing, and that's it. Then we have Dreadmaster. We're going to completely skip over this boy because this boy will not be doing anything apart from maybe making some stall variant possible with Clock Tower Prison, but yeah, just a, just nice GX inclusion that should have been in the game like since 2017. There's no reason why this took so long to come. It's not very good. It's the card you're going to be getting in the box. You're going to be going, for fuck's sake, why is my SR guaranteed sale this? It's going to happen. Then we have the other Crystal Beast, Crystal Master. It's a scale 5, so you have I believe a 3 and a 5, which means that all your level 4s, they can be summoned. And this one stops them from being targeted by card effects, which I think is the bigger effect, right? This is the better effect for Crystal Beast because it means the Rainbow Dragon now comes out as an untargetable boy, which is, it's pretty good. And you can trip this card to add a Ultimate Crystal monster, so a Rainbow Dragon. You can add a Crystal Beast monster or a Crystal Spell and Trap card from your deck to your hand, which is pretty good. But then you remember the Rainbow Bridge is not a Crystal Beast card. This search is kind of limited, but I think the better effect is the scale effect. I think this is way better than Crystal Keeper. Like, this monster effect is way better, but this scale effect is way better. And finally, we have Fuma Wave, which is kind of like, to me, it feels like, what's that trap card that when you activate an effect, then you can then pop another one. It's very similar to that. You target face a monster on the field, then show another monster, the same attribute but a different name as that monster. So, in an archetype, right, Harpy Lady, it works with, right? They summon one of the Harpy Ladies, you play this, blow up another one, right? That works. Blue Eyes, of course, that kind of works. DDDs, that'll work. Prawn Pals, that'll work. You kind of get the drift here. So, Bad Aim, that's one, Bad Aim. It's kind of like Bad Aim, but I think that Bad Aim is a little bit better than this. That's just my kind of gut feeling. But that is the mini box overall. We're getting some other cool cards in here, right? Like Marksman King Tell, which to me, being the only Xyz, does give me hope that the Structure Deck EX will be some DDD Xyz support. I think that makes a ton of sense. We're getting another cool perform power, right, called Gatling Ghoul, that can pop a monster, right? If you use a Pendulum monster. I had a Cuckoo go off, which to me means something updated on the website, so I have to have a look at that in a second. We're getting Defender, right? It's been so long, but this boy is so funny. Being in defense mode, it does give you, give your opponent draw 1, but 27 defense for level 4 is kind of hard to out. Like, unless they go into a, a Malevolent Sin, it's kind of hard to out. So, that's cool. Mandragon is, going on with the Dragon in the card trader. This is, the counterpart to that. We have a Dark Contract with the Yami Kai, which has been nerfed. The other Dark Contracts take 1,000. This one, you take 500. So that's pretty cool, but I don't think it's actually all that great. But that's kind of the box. Overall, it's not really that good. Like, if you're going in, right, I think the pattern you're going to go in for, right, is you open the box, you see Savant Kepler, you reset. Then, if you see Orthros, you want 1 or 2 of this. I think 1 will kind of be the value, the ratio you use is 1 of these. You see this, you see 3 of this, you're done. If you're playing Perform Powers, you see 2 Trump Witch, you're done. Crystal Beast, maybe a little bit more, but this is a box that you can go in and target specifically what you want, and for every archetype, there's a very, very simple, very, very clear reset condition that you want to meet. Like, no one gives a fuck about this, about Contrast Hero Chaos, right? No one cares about Dreadmaster or Fuma Wave. The rest is kind of like a second donkey, even like, Trump Witch at least is useful. So yeah, my opinion on the box is it's a bit of a bait anime casual fanboy box that kind of makes sense, right? They want to sell you on Structure Deck as well as the mini box, so you can't really have the mini box be too broken. But if we go by rarity changes from last week, a couple weeks ago, the main box should be Ignites and Sylvans as some brand new archetypes getting some more support, which is really cool. And given that the KC Cup in November is like the 16th, we should be getting a main box like around that time, before that. So not too long until the next main box, but this coming a bit early for us, which is fine. But let's wait and see. what the skills are for Declan, what the EX tech is before DD's kind of, before we kind of go in and say, oh no, DD's might not be that good because we're getting Savant Kepler, which is, you know, one of the best cards they have. So, we'll have to wait and see. Anyway, this was kind of long. Thanks for watching. I'll see you all in the next Duel Links video. See you then.